Stick Drift.
Pleasure to be here. Lots of primed action here for the Tier 3 of our Season 2 Annihilation League. Lots to go into this match. SPT looking to establish themselves, continue their run as we hit the mid-season, trying to set themselves up for a potential top spot in their Tier 3 division. For Spectrum, it's a completely opposite story. 1-4, a little bit of a rough start, but we're looking to see if we can get any sort of bounce back. And right now, it's the part of the season where a lot of shakeup is potentially happening here. We're a couple weeks into a couple different patches. We got some dev takes happening, a lot is happening in the game, but a lot of diversity is available for either squad here, and trying to find a comp that consistent to be able to stretch the rest of the season, it's a big one. It's going to have to start here. But for both of these teams, a little bit more of experimental, but Saving Private Tommy, they're here to establish business, and they're here to keep the win streak alive.
That's right. And honestly, I don't see tiramisu for the side of Spectrum. So this Zebra Cookie tank matchup that I was really looking forward to isn't going to happen, it looks like, for right now. But what I can say is that was absolutely fantastic, right? Saving Private Tommy, we've seen them all season long. They have been on an absolute heater. Some might even call it a bender in some situations with the streak that they've been keeping alive. But as far as Spectrum, they are searching for that win here to take one over Saving Private Tommy. You know, no team's really been able to get over this hurdle, this obstacle. And one of the things that I want to point out that Stick Drift just mentioned is, you know, a lot of leaps and hurdles as far as this patch goes, right? We are about 6-7 weeks deep into the season, where most teams by week 4 or 5 would have that synergy, and this patch came in so abruptly that, you know, you have to kind of think on your toes and re-strategize as far as your players, your compositions. You know, some teams we have seen have redrafted as well as signed new players specifically for what has been coming out of this season 11 patch. So I'm definitely ready to go. I know that Stick Drift's excited. I got our lovely host in the building, Piper. Piper, say what's up.
Hi.
And yeah, I'm very much excited. I'm more so pumped to see what Spectrum's going to do to offset a team like SPT. Right there's no point in sugarcoating this. SPT has been the most dominant team in this tier. They have actually gone above and beyond in absolutely almost everything, from the Winston dive to the Malga comp to the JQs to the Reinhardts. They've covered it all. And now the real question is what team is going to be able to stop them from keeping this grind going? Now, as we make our way to Busan, the one map where you can't spawn correctly because, you know, as a caster, they just stick you in the middle of the effing ocean, and it's raining now, and there's thunder and lightning, so I might get hit with a tsunami. Take it away, Stick Drift.
And a lot of good things happening here as we get started here on Busan. A lot to cover, especially with how diverse the map is. Busan has a lot of different sections. We've seen a lot of different dive looks. If you're looking at the downtown area, Mecha Base provides a little bit more of a avenue for some brawl teams, but we did point it out, Saving Private Tommy has this depth in roster to be able to establish a lot of different looks throughout the entirety of their comps. If they wanted to play the Winston, the Malga, a lot of different stable looks here. But to kick us out on, looks like Sanctuary, we did see some interesting comps here. Saving Private Tommy looking for a little bit more of a stable composition here. We do see the Sigma with the Ashe. Tracer on the other side here for Spectrum. It is going to be a little bit more of a brawl look here, but interesting composition for the DPS nonetheless. We do see the Lucio Tracer with the Genji, but more interestingly enough, it's a double main support here for Spectrum as they pull out the Mercy. Oh, it may seem a little bit more traditional. We're going to see the Kiriko. And both teams are off, already breaking out in the middle, trying to be able to jockey a little bit more, but a lot of this poke, especially if they collapse onto this right side. I like this for Spectrum, trying to lean into the Ramatra, trying to be able to provide some close range pressure, but the Sigma has to be something to dealt with. Zebra Cookie trying to lead the advance for SPT, but trying to provide a lot of pressure. Tracer duel on the side, recall already forced here for Saucer, but a lot of damage here for Spectrum, trying to be able to push forward, but Beamto's already caught low. Nemesis form already invested, and it looks like the rest of SPT is trying to be able to walk in on the pressure. Shield already deployed, Ravenous Vortex the other way. Stalemate pretty going either way, but it's a lot of stun, a lot of resources. Does force another Nemesis form here for Vinto, but Mamba trying to be able to get active. Does force a cooldown in the back from Ductor, but Froggy does catch away on the point, looking for a little bit more help, and it does look like Spectrum's going to get the first cap here, but a lot of back and forth, but Duck strikes first. Saucer gets taken down, the Tracer lane now being opened up. Pred getting swiftly punished out in the main, and it looks like the rest of SPT is getting taken down here. The Ramatra taking control here, and Spectrum's got themselves a first fight, and then some.
I mean, I don't know about you, but Froggy said, Zebra, I'm coming for you. And that is literally what just happened there with that boot and scoot there to the Sigma here. And now Zebra go into the pride and joy of the ball composition. This is going to be able to give a little bit of that offset here for Spectrum's backline. We're going to see how they react and get on down to this.
And especially with this ball comp, you want to try to be able to play a little bit more in and out, but this ball has to try to be able to get value to set up the DPS. This is a lot more of a slow, methodical comp. We already see the knock-in onto Duck. Isn't going to collapse on anything, but you have to consider Vimto. Vimto's going to have to try to cast a lot of space to try to be able to punish the backline, and they do get punished in the process. Zebra able to punish the aggression, the Ramatra taken out of the equation, and looks like the trades are needed on the opposite side. Mama's going to do just that. Richard ends up getting taken down. Zebra good for a second in this fight. It is going to be a 4v3 here favoring SPT. Pulse Bomb invested. It's going to go haywire. High quality, able to get the sound wave, finishes off the Tracer, and it looks like a little bit of stagger touches here for Spectrum, trying to keep the point alive. 60% and counting is going to accrue them a little bit of progress here. Ductor gets dropped awfully low. Pile driver in the back, but here comes the Annihilation and the Dragon Blade. Mamba able to strike first. Vimto takes down the supports, gets one, gets two. The Annihilation finding value. The respawn's coming in just in time, and it looks like Spectrum rolling on all cylinders.
Honestly, yeah, firing on all cylinders here tonight. Spectrum looking really good, and they're able to capitalize, right? Zebra Cookie is doing everything in their power to just get on this point. Right now, they're trying to do this back tap sneakiness, but even if they're not really playing with their team, it's giving Spectrum this advantage, right? They've been probably telling me all season long here has, like, absolutely put on the pressure and applied it all season long, and right now, Spectrum is capitalizing on that lack of pressure.
Early Kitsune rush here for Spectrum does net them a kill. Vimto does end up taking on Ductor in the back, does trade out from Mamba. Might on the point here for Zebra Cooking high quality. Does force the swap here for SPT, the Bob to try to be able to clean up in the fight, but it is still a 4v3 over this point side. Froggy getting chased awfully low, trying not to get hit by the minefield. Is able to get out with their life, but Zebra Cookie trying to get in. Sound barrier invested here for Spectrum, trying to be able to turn the fight on the point. The Bob is removed from the field. Zebra Cookie trying to trade in the back line, but is not going to be able to get anything going. But Ductor, kunai to the cranium. Duck gets taken down. The Tracer getting removed from the equation, and the side tangle with the Lucio as well is going to get high quality, at least a little bit more percentage for SPT here. The struggling forces here trying to get anything going, but Pred's going to shut the door. Headshot in the Vimto, and it looks like Spectrum's going to have to recall. About 30% to go, but still a lot of time here for Spectrum to be able to get back in.
That was absolutely massive with the ground and pound there from Zebra, coming down with an absolute slammer to get that double kill take. And honestly, I'm not going to lie, way to capitalize if you are SPT, right? This entire time you're down 99-0 and you get that point flip. You're able to finally control the situation and calm the pace and the tempo of this game. So now, we get to see Spectrum now with a full-blown onslaught to try and get this offense rolling again against this now set-up defense of SPT.
And the quick collapse here, Duck's going to be able to take down Pred. Nice place, Ravenous Vortex from Vimto, able to provide the opening. 5v4 for Spectrum, trying to turn it the other way, but Ductor gets the trade. Kiriko gets taken down. A lot of heals not available for Vimto. Does get forced to pop the Annihilation. Look to try to clear on the point. Zebra's going to chill on top of the point here with the Wrecking Ball. Going to provide a little bit more contesting pressure. Trying to burn down this Ramatra. Nemesis form forced again, but still this 4v4 stalemate being held at arms. Duck's able to strike first, though. Ductor gets the kill. Onto Ductor. High Quality is able to trade the other way, though, with the sound barrier. High Quality gets the better of their Lucio counterpart, and Zebra's going to get the opening pick. Mamba trading out the other way. 3v3 on the point, but Pred's going to be able to strike in the back. The Ash providing the substance. The Tracer Ball getting more space. Team kill on the back. Minefield on the point. No touches left to be had here. And it looks like Froggy's going to get close. Not going to do it. Touch not available, and SPT able to catch their footing as they set up an advantage here on Busan.
Honestly, it wasn't a bad move by SPT to come around from the back shoulder and take that W in round one here. But honestly, I'm more so impressed with how Spectrum was able to hold for so long. More so, I feel they got a little caught off guard by SPT's way to come back into the game here. You know what I'm talking about, Stick Drift? When you get that momentum flowing and everything's going right.
Not
You
as
know,
quick as I used to be.
It
but
seemed
I'm
like,
still
especially with the ball
fastest
comp, that's
gun
where you
in the
wanted to be able to
West.
take a lot of advantage. You see the Ramatra, they're forced to spend a lot of time rotating and investing cooldowns, but the worst thing that's happening for Spectrum right now, they're trying to overcommit. They try to chase onto these kills and try to be able to clear out space for the point, but the longer these fights get scrappy, the ball gets so much more value. It allows the ball to be able to act like this almost third DPS with a large health pool, able to provide a lot of substance for the Tracer to be able to clean up, and they were able to do just that. But here, a lot more collapse space, and Saucer's going to be able to take the breath out of my win. But Saucer able to lead this strike, the Ramatra Brawl up front, and it looks like the first early hit here for the side of SPT is going to drive a lot of kills going their way. It's going to clean up pretty quickly, and SPT is able to take a first fight here as we set base on Mecha Base.
and now this is the SPT champ that we all know and love. The up front and most dominant. Looking really good here is Zebra Cookie holding this choke here. The 5v1 as they would say. Everything being pulled out of the kitchen sink here just to try and catch Zebra Cookie on a bad day.
A lot of damage thrown up front. This forces the Immortality and Nemesis form, but it looks like Mamba and Duck are able to strike. The Cass and Baptiste getting removed. 5v3 here for Spectrum, trying to be able to clear out the rest of the point, and Mamba's going to be able to hit the connection. The Revolver getting active, gets a second, gets a third in this fight. Good job, Mamba. Able to clean up with the Cassidy. Going to be able to finish off the 4K. About 30% for SPT the other way, but Spectrum getting a fight.
Yeah, and Spectrum with a nice turnover earlier, 27% to 6% now and climbing here. Let's see what they can do to hold this bad mamma jamma down and take round 2 to send it into a round 3.
A lot of early aggression here for Zebra Cookie. It's going to be the Annihilation, trying to clear a lot of space. Does force the Immortality field, but on the other side, Mamba trying to be able to maintain space with the Deadeye. Pulse Bomb in the back. Duck does end up trading out the Cassidy on the other side, but Zebra Cookie keeps the Annihilation going. Gets his 3! The Ramatra getting wild, the namesake of the league. Able to get so much value here, and the Annihilation's going to finish off the job, and SPT gets a retake.
Amplification matrix ready.
Honestly, that was pretty fast, but still getting a lot of percentage onto the board here. 26 to 38. Spectrum still's got a lot of time in the tank to turn this one around.
A lot of space being held up front here. Ductor already opting for the Immortality field. It's going to split up the team in this close spot. They do have Saucer's Maywall available to try to be able to turn, but the Immortality the other way from Richards. Trying to be able to force the kill, but it does force the Blizzard, and Richards gets punished for it. The back of the Blizzard, and Pred's able to capitalize without the Baptiste. The rest of Spectrum's going to have to be able to call it quits, but Froggy gets chased down. The staggers here in the back onto the core. Looking to try to burn down Beamtoe. Does invest in Nemesis form. Not going to be doing it. Late Pred Deadeye. It's not going to catch anything. Looking for the reload, but not necessary. Bit overkill, but able to get the swap. Richards now moving over to the Kiriko, trying to be able to provide a little bit more substance here, but they're running out of time, about 75% here. You got to turn this quick, otherwise it's going to be last fight situation here for Spectrum.
And honestly, you don't want it to be that final moment here. You want to come into this, but your Ramatra is already down a lot of health here going into this next fight.
High quality, trying to be able to get the beat off, does end up Ajaxing due to the Annihilation from Beamtoe. 4v4 in the back, trying to be able to stabilize up front, trying to take the fight, but Beamtoe's able to take Ductor out. High sustainable healing, Zebra Cooking getting removed as well. Saucer's going to get an exit pick, but it's not going to be enough. The damage already being dealt here. Spectrum able to get the return, but now comes the task of trying to be able to flip this around and force a map 3. They do have both DPS ults here, as well as the sound barrier, and just off of the Ajax here for the side of SPT. The ultimates could be a factor if they want to start steamrolling percentage back.
Honestly, it would be nice. Beautiful take 2 from Spectrum, right? So 99% to 43. Now all you got to do is really just hold your lonesome here and try and hope for the best to secure this win to get into round 3. But coming in hot, Zebra Cookie right off the take. That high noon gets topped. Not going to be enough. Big Golden Glove opportunity.
It is going to be the sound barrier in the back, trying to be able to turn it 4v4 on both sides, but Zebra Cookie is going to keep the Annihilation cooking, and Froggy gets taken down. Lucio traded on the other side. Duck able to stabilize Immortality, or Amp Matrix in the back here for Ductor, trying to be able to force the fight for the core, and the rest of the core is healthy here for SPT, trying to chase out the rest of these threats. Richards ends up getting met with the Nemesis form, the pommel dealing the damage, but Mamba's back on the high ground. Ductor gets removed. No Splex supports available on either side, but Saucer does stay here with Zebra Cookie on the low ground. Saucer gets dropped ever so low, looking for the kill, and Duck's going to be able to get it. Doesn't have the recall, will end up trading for it, but Pred's trying to be able to keep the fight in the point. Overtime in the flip is going to be available for SPT, but Beamtoe holding healthy and strong, trying to push now with this Nemesis form, trying to force the rest of the core back, but Pred holds the Deadeye, looking to zone the rest of the back, and 3 kills for the Deadeye! Pred looking to be able to turn it themselves, but Beamtoe trying to be able to get the stabilize the other way, but Zebra Cookie deals with the Annihilation. The 3-man The core removed, and this is an early start here for SPT as they take map 1.
Honestly, I did not see the triple kill coming out of Fred right there, and our annihilation play of the game goes to Fred with an absolute massive haymaker. Watch this, it's high noon. Bink! The 1-2-3 ski taking out Mamba, Froggy, and Richard. As we get ready to go into map number 2. What an excellent showing from SPT right off the rip there on Busan, right? You know, not gonna lie, you saw it there early, right? Spectrum popping off, showing capabilities of competing against a team like SPT. So I'm not gonna count them out just yet. You know, I definitely think that any team that is trying to find their way throughout the season will get their win. You know, it's just a matter of digging deep, believing in the power of anime and friendship with the help of HelloFresh. Get your 10 free meals today and a lifetime supply of appetizers, and you too could look like SPT. All
A
right.
lot of, a lot of
All
good
right.
going on here, but for Spectrum, a lot to be able to turn the other way. We did see some proficiency on this Ramacher comp, but just when it fell short, we saw how disjunct the rest of the core was, especially going into that last fight. Sure, there's not a lot of cover to take onto that low ground. You're fighting for the point, but you wanted to be able to invest with the Nemesis form that Vimto wanted to take the space with. A lot of resources were depleted, so being able to try to collapse in space and potentially turn that into a pick, you got to be able to try to turn the synergy on for Spectrum, and it seems like they're able to do so, but it's going to be a stylistic change here as we get set for Numbani.
Yeah, I'm actually pumped. This is the homeland. All right, as an Orisa lover. Okay. You hear that, chat? You hear that, chat? As an Orisa lover, that's right. That is my main. The one trick pony pipes. As Orisa, this is the homeland. For all you Doomfist players out there, beware of thy spear, for I shall be your shield.
A lot going on here. We did see some interesting looks here for SPT. We did see the not only the flexibility that we highlighted, we saw the Ramatra comp and some excellence and some depths, as well as the swap under the Reaper was an interesting pick to try to be able to match the aggression that the rest of the core wanted. But we also saw a little bit more of a methodical approach. We saw Pred able to pull out the Ash. We did see the Ball Tracer in from Zebra Cookie and Saucer, respectively. But being able to adapt into a little bit more of a poke comp that works, especially with how vertical this map is on first point. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little bit more of the diva potentially as they get set for their defense here. But for Spectrum on the attack, they could righteously take this aggression and try to be able to match what SPT was able to do so well on Busan. We saw the aggression from Vimto. They have it in their backdoor. Duck's been doing an excellent job trying to open up these side angles on the Tracer. You just got to be able to let it ruminate, let it cook, let it sizzle a little bit. Once you get all the flavor in, it seems like Spectrum's able to kind of break down these fights in a way that works for them. But if you give SPT too much, they will take it back.
Honestly, they really will. You know, if you look at how SPT plays, right? You look at the. I want to actually highlight the what I would consider the mistake SPT made in Busan, right? Spectrum completely had them like bulldozed in the first half from just applying pressure. But as soon as Zebra swapped off of that poke and went into the dive, there became a little bit more of a distraction, right? And the players that needed to be focused more weren't being focused as much, and a lot of the attention was drawn to Zebra. So a very good move by SPT, you know, as far as reaction goes and getting the attention of Spectrum. But more so to highlight on Spectrum's behalf here, you know, they definitely have what it takes. If they could keep applying the pressure that they've been applying, right, and get the picks necessary in this next fight, they 100% can you know go without say take this map. And you know, we saw them earlier in the week. Actually, it might not have been Spectrum. It might have been Battle Cattle, but a lot of the players on Battle Cattle are on Spectrum. You know, they took a dub on Numbani, and the way that they held on defense was very immaculate. So it would be really nice if we could see the same thing replicated here from Spectrum, you know, as what we saw the other night. So I'm looking forward to that.
Definitely possible because we do talk about the dominance in SPT's game plan. They've been able to execute pretty well throughout the rest of the season, but they've only dropped a singular map. but that map type just so happened to be hybrid. It's the only blemish that any teams are going to be able to exploit out of this team, but being able to break them down and potentially find a loophole, Spectrum might be able to get themselves back in this series much easier than we may think. But we're going to have to see some adaptations here as we get ready to get going on this first attack as well. Attacking first on Numbani is no easy feat. It's going to take a little bit more of a methodical approach, a lot more of the high ground presence. It's very easily defended siding, and whether or not they're going to be able to allow Duck to potentially open some off-angle potential and set up for a potential high ground hit, depending on the composition, they could potentially go with the Winston. I'd be no stranger to potentially a Doomfist if they wanted to go on the all-in approach. They definitely could make the Ramatra work as well if they wanted, but they do have a lot of weapons, but not a lot of time. So it's all about making decisions and being able to execute as a team. As for SPT, it's more or less keeping the same face. Just show that you've been able to allow your DPS and the rest of your core to be able to find the picks the scrappier the fight gets. So maybe leaning into a little bit more of a chaotic control kind of approach is going to be able to suit them on this defense. But right now, it may just be about business. And for SPT, they want to make this a seriously quick fit series.
Yeah, SPT is looking to lock up here and try and finish this thing short and sweet and to the point, but Spectrum is not out of this fight just yet. This is a 5 game series. It is the first of 3, and right now it is 1-0. SPT taking on Spectrum here at the Hello Fresh Games, where you too, if you punch in that passcode down below, you can get 10 free meals and a lifetime supply of appetizers. Now, Stick Drift, I don't mean to change subjects or switch gears on you, but if you got an offer to get a lifetime supply of appetizers, you're taking it, right?
Like, that's just a deal too good to refuse. We're talking infinite resources. Like, infinite resources, that's fight winning. For a lot of teams, you want that immediately. And as far as like the resource games goes, we've seen pretty good use as far as SPT. We've seen a lot of discipline with a lot of the lamps, but not only that, we've seen a lot of investment as far as the Lucio. And I wanted to highlight high quality and their excellence on the Lucio in this matchup so far. We're seeing a lot of aggressive moments from this Lucio, especially when there's not so much of a role to be able to suit the tank and being able to lean into the mobility. It allows a little bit more of a dynamic, aggressive style to be able to help those off angles with Saucer. We saw it on the Tracer when it happened on Sanctuary. A lot of resources could lead to more or less a fight win or not to be able to turn a tide as so much as a small 1v1. You turn it into a 2v1 with a lot more to offer. With lethality on top of it, like, I'll take every resource we got. And as far as HelloFresh, they're keeping us stocked all the way to the brim. And I'm taking that deal no matter what.
I like that. I like that indeed. I'm pretty sure I was talking about food, but you were talking about heroes and ultimates. I think we agree at the end of the day.
Good food. Can never go wrong.
Food's always good. Who's this? I wish I was a mod in the Twitch chat, yo. Anybody who posts best viewers only should just be blocked. We don't like spam ads in the chat. Huh, but now we wait. Now it's the game of patience here as SPT and Spectrum, take their breaths, get their team meetings going as they get ready to initiate this round 2. And I'm pretty excited. I can't complain. Ba, 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 ba. Oh, and we got our first R from Pred.
Like, we're getting ever so close. A little bit of difficulty in the back here, but getting it sorted out, getting everything fixed.
I just don't recall anyone calling for a pause. All
Doesn't
right,
seem to deter anything as we're getting in.
now we head into it. We're going into it live. Numbani, the homeland for the battle cattle.
Especially suffocating. We talked about like a lot of this high ground being a big factor, especially on this first defense. It's all high ground. You look at this pit underneath, like there's a lot of side routes that could be taken to try to be able to approach what is essentially just needing high ground. We talk about the under health packs, a lot of deep rotations are available. Some you could potentially go off map side, but it's going to take a little bit more pressure and a little bit more time, and especially time being a big factor when it comes to being able to drain out, especially vertical positions that are just breaking the entirety of this defense. As far as the offense, it seems like it's going to be Spectrum opting in for the dive look. We do see Duck on the Ashe, Mamba opting for the Genji with the Ana backline as well. But on the defense, a little bit more standard Zebra cooking, hopping into the Diva. But a little bit more of a poke approach, trying to be able to spam out these resources might help Spectrum a little bit build these nanos for quick engages. You're going to see Pred on the Ashe, Saucer moving to the Echo. But interestingly enough, they're going to keep the Lucio Kiriko backline on this high ground for SPT.
Yeah, we do see a little bit of a swap here from Spectrum as far as Froggy playing the Lucio now on to Ana, Richards on it to the Lucio. And I don't know, I'm a big Winton fan, so I'm really looking forward to see how Spectrum prevails with this dive here, especially knowing what the patch provides, right? You know, Winton is a stronger pick than Diva, but the real question is how do you execute? So let's see how this goes.
Interesting approach. It is going to be a particle barrier forced here from Vimto onto this high ground, but it looks like a lot of suffocating look from Spectrum trying to be able to farm in this tight breakout, but they're trying to be able to eliminate the armor off of Zebra Cookie. Does force the TP from Ductor, trying to be able to stabilize. Bubble Disc gets taken down, but a lot of shots available for Pred on this high ground. Pred gets taken 2 shots, 2 down. Duck looking for the headshot, will catch it on the Pred, and it looks like the opener that Spectrum were looking for right in the back. Anti-nade onto Ductor, 4v5. SPT trying to be able to stabilize the other way, but Mamba's going to be able to clean up the pressure. Ductor gets taken down. Richards does get taken down by Zebra Cookie, but it looks like the support line getting taken down here for SPT not going to be enough to hold down the fort. 2 people, we're going to get 3 people on the point here. Saucer is in a position to try to be able to flank and look for a potential retouch here. Doesn't look like it's going to be for much. Zebra Cookie's going to get first touch, does get antied, gets burned awfully quickly. Suzu doesn't connect inside of the particle barrier, and the Diva will get taken down. Saucer in the back does get Froggy though with the focusing beam, but it looks like the damage is already done. The Winton already good for 2, going to make it a 3rd, and Spectrum already rolling here with the first cap on Numbani.
Honestly, that was a really good hold from Spectrum right there to keep their approach on taking this first point, because you know, you slowly saw SPT coming back and they were getting those picks, so very happy to clean that up early and to turn this into their game. 4:45 on the Klizog here, 1-0 so far. Spectrum as they get rid of their offensive push.
Already trying to be able to round this first approach. Did you see Zebra Cookie moving over to the Winston? And I kind of like this look, especially if you wanted to be able to drive this initiative for SPT. You want to be able to drive the aggression, but it's kind of counterindicative. You want to be able to allow Saucer and Pred to be able to play for a lot more poke potential, but you have to be able to be worried about the resources available. Richards is going to pop the rally here onto the lower main streets. Bomba gets dropped awfully low. Is going to get some assistance from the Brigida, but Vimto on the high ground trying to be able to stabilize. Does get the Primal Rage Force, looking for potentially Primal Blade kills. Does just miss the jump onto Pred, but it's going to be the Kitsune rush on the bottom. Ductor. Mamba does end up forcing the Blade. Nano Blade in the back, catches on the 1, looking for a second. Does force the duplicate here onto the Winston. Going to be the double Winston on the point, trying to take advantage of the Kitsune rush on the point, and Richards gets dropped ever so low, and Ductor's in the back already scalping the back line.
So many
aggression
Wintons!
In the back. Saucer looking for the Primal. Too much banana
So
slamming.
many Wintons!
Too much Winstons, and it looks like
I'm
Spectrum's out of it. And
I'm
SPT
feeling a
able to
kid in a candy
stabilize.
store. This is great. Did you see how many Wintons there were? They always
many
say 2 is a
Winstons.
crowd, but 3 was a party, and let me tell you something, that was looking really nice for SPT, capitalizing on the copy and paste.
Now, it took a lot of resources for the side of Spectrum. They invested the Nano Blade, the early rally, the Primal Rage. It took 4 ultimates on the other side for SPT. They only invested 2. They have the capability to try to be able to stagger out this fight as late as possible. Bionade for Froggy. Does go a little bit wide here, but Zebra looking for an approach onto this backline. Beamto getting dropped ever so low, trying to be able to get around the corner, but Zebra looking to take the aggression up front. Froggy gets dropped ever so low. The Bob in the back for Pred is going to hold down the point. Mamba able to get a kill, but it's not going to be enough. It's going to be a 3v3 on the other side, but Bob's going to catch on to 2. The late touches here, and it looks like the damage has been dealt. And for Spectrum, it's
okay.
you got to call it a day. 2:45 left to go, but they have time.
Well, Rich just, you know, yeeted himself off the map there. That is known as a tactical reset in this form of league play here. Very unfortunate to see. They had the backline advantage, in my opinion.
Now, trying to be able to suffocate into this top angle, it's very interesting. The Ana's not going to be able to build the nano boost as quickly as they perhaps would like to. And try to play this Colosse. Doctor does get forced awfully low. Does force the Suzu and the Swift Step, but Zebra Cookie's already dealt the damage. Mamba gets taken down, looking to stretch it. Primal Rage in the back, catches on the Duck, looking for more, catches a third, looking to potentially clean this out, and Richards is going to get taken down. Vimto calling their losses. And with 2 minutes to go, an excellent start here for SPT, but they need to be able to close out this defense. It is going to be a swap here for Mamba, opting into the Cassidy.
Honestly, SPT is cleaning up really nice here. So, I'm just more so trying to figure out what Spectrum can do in this moment here, who they should be diving. I feel like the comp is right. It's just a matter of who we're picking off first. You know, every time it's almost as if there's an ultimate on the side of SPT that's prevailing.
Rally for Recharge, trying to be able to move the core forward. They're being static in their approach. Does force the Bob on the other side. Duck does get the Bob on a point. Gonna get some attention on the other way, but the duplicate for Saucer gonna get the Winston, trying to be able to disrupt the backline. Does get dropped ever so low. It's not gonna get the Primal. As end up getting forced out here, but it looks like Mamba trying to be able to clear the backline, but Duck there gets lost in transit. Whip shot for Richard is going to be able to open it up. No Kiriko available, but pulse bomb for Pred trying to be able to turn it around. Doesn't get the connection. 5v4 here trying to be able to turn the fight the other way, but Richard's going to get another kill here. The whip shot's getting active. It's going to be 2 kills. The late nano onto Beamto as well to try to be able to stretch the point as well. Shots from Mamba going to catch the Echo True, and it looks like the damage has been dealt here. The breakthrough needed for Spectrum as they get point B.
Honestly, that's huge. They just get it now. 2 minutes, 10 seconds left on the clock here. Still up 2-0. Honestly, an amazing hold from Saving Private Tommy.
Stop.
So,
It was interesting though. How did Doctor get turned around? It's almost like they were trying to enable the angle with Saucer, but they just get caught out of position in their backline.
they
Little interesting
saw
approach.
the other duck stick. They saw the other duck. They
Wrong
saw
duck,
the
I
other
suppose.
duck on the team, and they said, "Oh, he's not a Tor, but he is a duck," and that's just how it went down.
And interestingly enough here, Vimto does swap over to the Diva. Kitsune rush on the point here for SPT, and the damage has already been done. Duck already getting taken out of position. Saucer looking to take the aggression, and it looks like the rush was all it needed. Late kills here. Vimto getting dropped out of mech here. They are going to stagger the mech. Is going to force a quick reset here on the side of Spectrum. Looking to
To
potentially
think,
jump in.
Vimto was doing so well on that Winston. I don't know why they draw to swap to Diva. Maybe because, well, Saucer is now off of that Echo, so, you know, maybe a swap because of the Echo, but I don't know. I feel like the Winston was really working for Spectrum.
Interesting that they try to maintain this poke look. They try to be able to keep the on a break backline potentially as if they were trying to walk, but the poke from Mamba and Duck trying to be able to get some value here, but what are you burning out if the fight's getting taken to your backline immediately? Zebra Cookie already landing in the back. Rally already forced. Backline, Deadeye trying to look for anything. Mamba looking for a kill. We'll be able to catch on the Pred, but the damage has been done. Duck and Froggy taken out of the equation, trying to be able to stave the rally. The Primal in the back for Zebra Cookie will take care of the rally. Saucer gets traded out the other way, but Zebra Cookie doing God's work with this Winston, doing ever so much to try to be able to maintain the rest of the core back, and time's dwindling down here. 25 seconds to go, and Spectrum are looking for answers, but ultimates for SPT on the other way. They're gonna need a miracle to break through here.
They really are, and honestly, right now, making that headway is Spectrum, right? So all they need to do is coordinate this dive pick, and they could truly punch this one in here. 10 seconds left remaining on the Clissop. Coming down to the wire.
Gotta drag this fight out. Froggy looking for the nano boost. Pulse bomb on the Richards already gets the kill. Brigida taking down the Honda, doesn't have any protection. It will get taken down by Zebra Cookie in the back. Bomb on the point, trying to be able to stave off the Bob. Sound barrier just to assure the kills.
Bob?
And it looks like SPT able to hold on and maintain the defensive pressure With no ults, there's no coming out of it. They just take the blunt force of every cooldown they got. SPT is able to hold down just before third and have set themselves up for a position to be able to take this 2-0 and potentially force a sweep.
Initiating match.
Interesting plays here
Yeah,
happening
honestly.
here.
That was such a good holdout by SPT, and honestly, a fantastic push by Spectrum. So honestly, with what we've seen from Spectrum on that offense, I think they have what it takes to easily hold this bad boy down here on point number 1. But they gotta make minimal mistakes. You know, you gotta come into this defense lights out in order to secure the deal here to put the game series up to 1 apiece.
I do like
But
this defense composition here for Spectrum. They're opting into the poke, but they also have Mamba moving over to the Tracer to try to be able to mitigate some of the pressure on these under angles, prevent the wraparound, and enabling Duck to get these opening shots. That first pick on point A, it was Duck getting the better of the Astral. You enable the DPS to be able to take these longer fights. They should be able to gain their value. Richards and Froggy moving over to the Kiri and Lucio respectively, but on the other side, it's going to be a similar look here for SPT on the breakout. Zebra Cookie moving to the Diva, and Saucer holding onto the Echo, though.
3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
all right, and now we are off Nubani round number 2 here as SPT takes on Spectrum this time on the offensive.
Red already doing excellent job trying to be able to wrap around. Zebra Cookie already at the back line. Everybody's getting escorted ever so quickly, trying to be able to conquer this high ground. You got to be concerned with the rotation here for Spectrum, establishing a nice kill box on the top. But Doctor ends up striking the Kiriko trade in the back and ends up getting a second. The Kiriko getting active. Doctor providing the opener. And the very swift fight here for SPT. Divide and conquer. No, just stand divided. SPT just holding down the fort, holding W, and holding onto this first point with ease.
That is what we like to call flawless. 5 minutes, 40 seconds on the Klizak here to get things going in round 2. 2-1 here, and now pushing to here. The lead is Saving Private Tommy, but holding, looking to take this dub and tie the series at 1 is Spectrum.
You get some swaps forced here on the other side. We are going to see the Ana Brigida return here in the back line for Spectrum, but Duck moving back over to the Cassidy. They're really trying to be able to mitigate the effect of this full-on dive from the Echo, anticipating that the main damage threat is provided there. But with the Diva having some individual kill potential, you have to be able to make sure your backline's able to stave off some of these threats. And without this Tracer being able to get as much resources as potentially could, because Mamba's in the entirety of their backline right now. Uncontested almost. They're not getting the packs from the Brigida. There's a lot of mainline pressure, but the damage has been dealt. Saucer gets taken down. I stand corrected. I'm not familiar with your game.
Yeah, Mamba's looking really good out there, getting these little backline picks. And this is definitely what's going to allow Spectrum to strive for greatness here in round 2 on defense. 4:30 left on the Klizak here. We do have the copy and paste onto the Diva.
Saucer duping the Diva in their spawns. Definitely an interesting choice, but they're trying to be able to keep the double dive with this Diva on this high ground, potentially force out a lot of space with these Diva bombs. They do have the self-destruct, gets popped onto the high ground, looking to force some drops. Pulse bomb available for Pred in the low ground. The entire core getting ditched to the low. Beamtoe will self-destruct their own on the high ground, looking for anything. Pulse bomb on the Beamtoe, but the immortality frames from the Reback is going to ensure that the Pulse doesn't get any value.
Oh my god!
Pulse with the bomb in the back from Cookie, trying to be able to catch anything, won't be able to do so. Mamba in the other back line looking for more and gets a second kill. The Pulse bomb on a high quality. Excellent damage control here from the Tracer, and the damage from Duck to be able to follow up. The rest of the core able to punish, and just when it was looking ever so good for SPT, that's 3 ults down, and it doesn't catch any merit. Does force 3 ults down the other end, but fighting into this rally is going to be a very heavy task.
It really is, but so far Spectrum really pulled in a really good hold here. 3:30 left on the clock. SPT still trying to drive this one in, but Spectrum posing that threat. Honestly, I'm more so concerned and still trying to wrap my head around the triple bomb threat that just happened.
A lot of explosive. Zebra Cookie trying to be able to collapse onto the high ground. Does get the rally force out of Richards. Does force the sound barrier on the opposite end, though. Doctor already invested, trying to be able to get out potentially following the swip step use. Richards trying to be able to chase down this Lucio. Does have a bash available, won't be able to connect, and we'll have to regroup with the core. 5v5, Duck on the high ground looking for the Deadeye. We'll be able to catch Saucer. Echo gets taken down. The rest of the core from SPT scrambling to look for an answer, trying to be able to clear out Mamba from the side angle. But the Tracer has been able to get so much value here. Mamba's just forcing everybody to end up looking at this Tracer instead of it just being Pred. But it's amazing the amount of pressure this Tracer has been able to get, especially in this 1v1 recall force from Pred already. Trying to force a lot of resource, but Duck has the opening. The Tracer causing so much space. Doctor catching open space. The stagger continues. And 2:30 left to go. Spectrum's looking pretty good for the long run here. Potentially off of Mamba's Tracer.
Yeah, and honestly, right now, you have so much momentum, right? You don't want to overextend in this situation. You had 225 points midway. Stay back, hold that high ground. Keep SPT at bay.
Mamba ends up getting chased down here. Zebra Cookie and Pred able to finish out the kill. 5v4 here. Opener for SPT trying to be able to turn it around. Beamto gets dropped ever so low. Focusing Beam does end up forcing the D-Max. Not going to opt for the self-destruct. Pulse Bomb onto the Baby Divas are going to ensure the tank gets taken down. Epic nade onto the backline. It's going to catch both backliners. The copy for Saucer onto the Ana is going to ensure that they get this fight. But a bit overkill here. The two ults potentially not needed to dupe Nano. Just a little bit of cherry on top, but it looks like second point here for the taking for SPT, and 3 minutes to go to try to be able to turn this into a 2-0 lead.
Honestly, what good hustle from SPT here, keeping themselves in this thing. 3 minutes on the Klizak, 2-2, and this is going to be our match point. One team's going to hold, or one team's going to score.
Bomb already out for Cookie, trying to be able to get any picks in the back. Nano Boost already invested up front onto the Diva, but it's going to catch Froggy in the process. Mamba able to trade it out the other side, though. Ductor gets taken down. No flex support available on either side. 4v4 trying to be able to take the initiative, but Beamto gets dropped awfully low. With no support, it's going to end up forcing the self-destruct. Doesn't get anything with the bomb. Does end up getting a fresh mech, though. 4v4, Saucer moving over to the Cassidy for a little bit more brawl potential up front. Trying to be able to shut down this threat for Mamba. They do have the pulse bomb available. Hunting, trying to be able to clear out this Tracer. Won't be able to do just that yet, but it's almost a stalemate on this point here, but trying to be able to drag out the fight. Pulse bomb in the back. Suzu, not even going to catch on to him. High quality gets taken down. Mamba, the opener, looking for the pulse, and now it looks like the rest of Spectrum trying to be able to extend this advantage here, trying to clear out, but it looks like they're going to be able to stabilize in the corner here and get some ults, but for the supports on SPT, you have the rush. You have the sound barrier available. Pred and Saucer closing in on their ultimates as well. Richards are going to need immense value from this rally in order to keep the defense going.
That they will indeed, but they do have a nice ult economy. So both teams now locked in on their, I was going to say second ult, but we do have Saucer climbing rapidly to get a high noon, but going to whiff that one.
Kitsune rush, traded out, rally at the other side. Saucer ends up getting the trade on the Mamba following Pred, but the rally is still going to be able to hold space for a little bit. The car getting ever so close to the golden box of victory. They get a lot of look for any sort of touch. Richards gets the first touch, does end up getting knocked back, but nobody is able to follow up. No touches, no mech, no problem for SPT as they take Numbani and set themselves one map away from keeping the win streak going.
Play of the game.
Had to be a little bit concerned about the aggression from SPT, but they turned it into excellence. We saw the swap. They wanted to play a little bit more of this brawly style, and they were able to dwindle resources a lot more effectively. Vimto wasn't able to get the support they needed, and just when they needed the mech most to be able to keep the touch for the point, it wasn't enough. The Tracers were traded out early. There's nobody going to be able to actively contest for the point, and without a mech, with you trying to fight with the rally, you have to try to take that fight. Even if you're down the mech, you have to try to be able to force resources and at least allow Duck to get any sort of opening for Spectrum, but it turns out it wasn't enough. SPT able to take the aggression and continue their brawl, and it looks ever so good as they continue to ride this momentum. It's now, I believe it's 16-1 in map records for SPT. It's utter dominance that we've seen throughout this entire season so far, and it doesn't look like it's stopping here. As we get set for New Queen Street in map 3, SPT, a healthy 2-0, but for Spectrum, a reverse sweep is in order.
That is exactly what's needed for Spectrum here. They need to get their brooms ready and start to ignite the fight as they prepare to take it on here at the Timmy Games. That's right. New Queen Street is home to my boy Timmy and his championship butt scratch tournament where we get to see SPT and Spectrum battle it out live to get their butt scratches first. Because you know what TS1 stands for. Timmy scratches one cheek at a time. All here brought to you in part by HelloFresh. Pump in that code, pop that schnikey in. Get yourself 10 free meals and a lifetime supply of appetizers, and you too can be just like these power packed teams from Annihilation.
A lot good going on here. HelloFresh, as we do talk about free appetizers, how about free picks? The pole spawn game from these tracers have been excellent for the most part. We do see Mamba getting these critical connections. Defense Matrix and Suzu making it ever so difficult to try to be able to get those connections on the SPT, but Mamba's dragging out the resources, finding the openers in a lot of these fights, and for the most part, they stood uncontested, but matching the other side, Pred, excellence to try to be able to mark and lock down that lane before Mamba can take down the rest of their team, and being able to drive that going forward, you have to ensure one stick, one kill, and I know a thing or two about sticks, man. It's going to take a lot more than that for Mamba to try to be able to get their team going. But Spectrum, they can't just rely on the Tracer game. They have to be able to look at the core and allow a little bit more aggression. They've seen a lot of potential to be able to absorb some of these threats and allow Duck to be able to play for some of the shots. But you have to know when to turn that defense into offense. And when SPT is able to use their cooldowns to land, you have to be able to punish them for trying to take that space and encroach. But there was very little to no hesitation as we saw that first fight, 15 seconds on Numbani first. Tremendously fast, and the Diva Tracer already ended up in their high ground less than before they were able to see what picks they were even on. Tremendous speed, and you have to match that aggression on the other side for Spectrum, but right now we aren't seeing it.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, low key, in my opinion, I feel like, you know, if Spectrum had Tiramisu with them tonight, this would be a much different matchup than what we're seeing. And again, you know, uh, Vim out here has been doing a fantastic job holding back Zebra Cookie, in my opinion, especially what we saw in Numbani, right? Spectrum's defense on Numbani was absolutely flawless to an extent, right? Yeah, they lost the match, but at the end of the day, they still killed the clock even when SPT had the fastest point secure with 5 minutes and 40 seconds. They held that defense for a good 20 minutes, and defense wins championships. And what we're about to go into is more of that hybrid kind of floativity of a composition for a map, right? You see your on a push map, you see your rush, you see your dive, you do get your occasional poke, and sometimes you get your strong strength brawl comps. But what I like about the matchup here going into New Queen Street is the arsenal that Spectrum has on a map like Push. They've been very successful this season on push maps, as well as SPT's just magnificent comp style. So, you know, every map we get to see what Spectrum has in the tank to go toe to toe with SPT. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what else I could really say. I think Spectrum is doing a fantastic job. It's just coming down to those final team fights. But like the last map literally lost just because nobody was there, but the team fight was still going on, right? They were in the area, just no one was on the point. So there are a lot of factors that go into this matchup, and I don't know. I see the reverse sweep coming out of this, it's a possibility. But even though that is the case, this is still, there's a lot on the line as SPT could take this for a 3-0 right here and now.
We do get a swap here for Spectrum, looking for any sort of change as it is going to be Richards getting taken out of the match. Eris stepping in to potentially fill the support role here for Spectrum. And this look could be potentially the opener that they want. We did see a little bit of the back and forth, the hesitancy in the backline to try to play a little bit more of a main support, flex support dynamic. We did see the characters, but we ended up seeing the role swapped a lot. And with the role swaps, you're seeing a lot of different responsibilities kind of getting mixed up in the flow. And maybe we're looking to see a little bit more of a stylized approach here. This could be a little bit more of a specialty pick for Eris coming into the map, but to try to be able to turn the momentum now anything is gonna at least potentially help. And I think Eris could be the make or break factor we've seen here, because we've seen on the other side the supports can definitely get active, high quality. We saw their Lucio and Busan, and just on Numbani there, Doctor with the Kiriko finding the critical headshots with the Kiri to be able to provide some of these openers. It's not just about the healing. To be able to provide the substance, it's being able to provide another level of lethality, and that's what the kunais have been able to provide for Doctor and the rest of SPT. But now we're gonna have to see if Eris can try to step up to the occasion and at least drive some sort of hope back into Spectrum's sails as we get set for match number 3, New Queen Street, coming at you.
Initiating match.
All right, now we head into New Queen Street, where we get ready to bring you the Timmy games here, brought to you in part by HelloFresh. Click the code below and get yourself 10 free meals today and a limited time supply, a lifetime supply. God, I can't speak right now. Piper, where are you? You know, normally in that moment there, you'd help me out. No? All right, we lost
I'm
Piper,
here.
folks.
I'm here. I'm just, I'm dead.
That's impossible.
Lifetime supply of HelloFresh. Yippee!
Yippee! Look at the spire of Toronto. Feeling myself here on New Queen with Stick Drift as we get ready to bring you the best in Annihilation Overwatch. On our left here, we do have SPT, and on our right, we do have Spectrum. Ooh, and this is definitely going to be a sight to see. Pred is on that Sombra, and we do have Duck as well as Mamba on their respected roles here of the Cass and the Tracer. So this is definitely going to be a sight to see.
It's a little bit more standard than I kind of expected here for Spectrum. They did see a lot more comfortability on the Ramatra comp, but now it seems like Zebra Cookie already takes the initiative. Eris gets taken down. The Kiriko trying to enable some of the shenanigans of the Tracer, but the breakdown the rest of the core not being able to help. But Pred able to take down Mamba, and it looks like the rest of the skirmish ensuing here from SPT is going to at least drive some early meterage here, and it seems very optimized into the Wrecking Ball look that we saw in Busan. It's very scrappy. You want to be able to enable these side lanes, and especially if it's just Mamba, they're recognizing the threat of this Tracer and being able to lock it down and almost overwhelm the lane. If you're able to force resources, whether it's Froggy or Eris, it seems like it's getting so much value here for SPT. Slam in the back, hack on the Duck, trying to be able to isolate this cast. Does force the protection. Suzu able to get out with their lives, but it looks like they're going to have to wait for a short recall. But Froggy gets isolated out in main, and the virus is going to catch on to Froggy.
Honestly, that was a nice execution from Duck here on the high quality, and a quick turn and change of pace here for the side of Spectrum.
Looking for any sort of retaliation. Pile driver for Zebra's not going to catch anything. Does force the Ravenous Vortex at it, the Ramatra here, but some early meters going the other way. Minefield already invested onto the point, and it's going to catch on the Duck. The damage being dealt, but Beamtail able to trade the other ways where the Wrecking Ball gets taken down. The Pummel able to catch a little bit more space, but Pred trying to be able to steal the bot away here. Does bring it back to midway. No fear of the mine, but it looks like the trade's back and forth, but Bomba's able to take the better of the Tracer duel. Saucer gets taken down, but another mine claims the soul of Froggy, and Zebra, even when dead, able to get the value on the Wrecking Ball, and now Beamtail trying to struggle with their life, trying to hold on to this point, but Mamba doing an excellent job holding two people at once on the side lane. But it looks like Spectrum, you gotta try to be able to get the rest of the core in a position to be able to fight. But a lot of resources coming up on both sides. We do see the EMP available for Pred, looking for potential opening here to start these fights, but the roll through for Zebra already trying to get some value, and the hack's already in, but the Kitsune Rush gets canceled by the EMP. A rare one, but it's a very quick fight. The four-man connection is going to bring down 4 people for the side of Spectrum, and SPT able to capitalize and a Kitsune Jacks, if you will. And SPT keeps the bot rolling.
Honestly, SPT is looking polished on a map like New Queen Street right now. They are like, yeah, we're just going to run this ball composition, but watch how we get in and out of the backline here. Truly, they have nothing but mobility on their side. So right now, if you're looking at Spectrum, they're down in the mobility factor, right? They're running that Ramatra. They do have the Lucio, they do have the Kiriko, as well as the Tracer, but that Sombra, as well as that ball, is just a bit pesky for the backline.
Annihilation in the back here for Beamto trying to chase down Ductor will end up getting them. Butt Scratch does get capped here for the side of SPT, trying to be able to clear out the rest of the threats, and Pred's going to be able to get the hack and virus connection onto Mamba. Tracer gets taken down, and looks like the rest of Spectrum are going to have to recall here. An excellent push here. About 6:35 here left to go here for SPT, and they're already rolling pretty well. Forward spawn's already activated. They have both support ults and another minefield built here for Zebra Cookie, but it's going to force some changes on the other side. Vimto moving over to the Diva to try to provide a little bit more peel, but Duck is going to have the Deadeye available, but Vimto ends up taking down Saucer first. Does force a Kitsune rush, trying to be able to stabilize the other way. 4v5 favoring the side of Spectrum, trying to be able to deal with this Kiriko, but Eris is going to be able to strike, gets one. Mamba able to clear out the other support in the back, and it looks like SPT finally hitting a stopping point as Spectrum able to clear out the point and at least force a recall here. Zebra Cookie able to get out, but a fight win nonetheless as Spectrum is trying to get any sort of assistance, and it seems like the Diva was the answer.
Honestly, the Diva right now is definitely looking really well as far as keeping that pick onto the Tracer as well as that Sombra in the backline. But what really is going to come down to this, and here it is, the minefields.
Does catch on the Froggy, and the Kitsune from Ductor ends up getting the finisher. Pred gets one, gets two. The Sombra getting active in the middle of the fight. The minefield able to provide the space, and it looks like the rest of SPT able to try to finish this off. Vimto does seem a little bit split from the rest of the core. Saucer able to finish the kill on the Duck, trying to prolong the stagger here, and now the DMEC on the Vimto. You have to expect a really long delay here. High quality ensuring the kill. Soundwave, just for the kill credit. Why not? You take those. Another EMP here for Pred, and now closing in on 80 meters. We're now heading into the straightaway, and Pred gets taken down. Duck looking for the return pick, and they get it, and it looks like finally a response, but Mamba gets forced over to the Torbjorn here.
Honestly, Spectrum can still battle back into this. They just need to be a little bit more aggressive on Timmy whenever Zebra wants to dive into their backline. And, you know, initiate that team fight early without Zebra in the picture, and I think they're clearing, you know, they're clearing the way and making headway for themselves. But see, look at this. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Zebra just gets a little bit into the backline, and it stops the momentum of their push every time.
EMP invested from Pred, but it was a nice job from Froggy, able to distance himself from the EMP, able to get the sound barrier off and ensure the pick onto the Sombra. And now Froggy getting active, gets a second kill here. But Lucio getting big impact in this fight. And finally, a nice little read here off of the EMP fight, and Spectrum able to get some distance and try to get ever so close to the coveted butt scratch.
That's Froggy right there. Oh, and there's the back and hack.
Trying to force Pred out of position here, trying to get chased out in the tunnel. Froggy looking for the chase and ends up punishing the Sombra. Pulse bomb eating the back from Vimto as well. The B invested here from high quality, trying to turn it the other way. Zebra looking for a pile driver in the back, doesn't have armor available. And Vimto with the jets, able to turn it on and look the other way. Off the back at the Kitsune rush, the Diva gets two. And now Spectrum. This is a much needed response that they were looking for. The chase from Froggy, the pulse bomb ether, the 2K. This is exactly what we've been waiting for. And now the butt scratch going the way of Spectrum.
That's right, and here comes Timmy with his absolute left-hand dropper. I mean right hand as he put it on his hip. Do we get a scratcheroo? We do! Timmy with an absolute magnificent butt scratch in front of the Warbirds gym here on New Queen Street. Beautiful move and play by Spectrum to secure that butt scratch. And now we get to see if Spectrum has enough in the tank to take the lead and turn this game into their own.
Molten Cord trying to be able to retaliate against the Kitsune. The Duck trying to be able to look for the Deadeye. Does force the self-destruct in the back here for Beamtail. A lot of damage, but a lot of damage being invested into Warbirds. But Duck gets one, gets two, gets three. Vicacity going wild! Duck able to turn the momentum the other way. Vimto trying to be able to chase the threats the other way. Eris looking for a chase. They aren't going to be able to dislodge the core just yet, but they're looking for any sort of answers. Zebra Cookie getting staggered a little bit more as it looks like a lead here finally brewing here for the side of Spectrum. And Ductor in the backline looking for any sort of escape. We'll get the swift step out just in time, but it will look like the micro missiles connect for Vimto. A late stagger, and now Spectrum a straightaway away from getting a map.
Honestly, Spectrum taking this lead here with 225 is absolutely massive. They had literally pulled the sheets over SPT right here and made it their problem. The SPT now has a problem. Here comes that Volskaya Fury from Zarya, but is it going to be enough?
Rev Surge is going to connect onto one. It's not going to be able to finish the rest of the job. Beamtail already in the back line. Going to be able to get one, get two. The Ziva gets taken down. The Bob looking for the touch on the back. Pred looking for a return, but Saucer's able to get the pick on Froggy. Doggy gets the return. Pred gets taken down to Dave. The Bob doing so much damage here to try to be able to retaliate, but Eris is in the back, looking for a response, but Doctor already doing the damage.
Oh!
The Kitsune is going to hold on. Zebra returns with 2 on the Wrecking Ball, and just when it was looking ever so dire, the Bob from Pred able to hold down the fort just before a cap. But it's at least a 30-meter advantage here for Spectrum as time runs down. Minute 30 left to go, and a whole map left to do for SPT to try to turn this into a 3-0.
That is a magnificent amount of comfort zone if you are Spectrum here with 1 minute and 20 seconds left, especially with forward spawn advantage. You're already ready for the next team fight. Now the forward spawn advantage is gone, and we get ready to see if Spectrum has what it takes to take this W and turn this game around.
I like the initiative in the back here. Beamto already forcing the resources on the Pred, and it looks like the supports are trying to be able to follow up, but doesn't look like it's going to be too much. Zebra could also getting forced ever so low, and Mamba is able to get the first pick. Duck gets the headshot into the back line. It does end up trading out the Kiriko the other way. Saucer able to connect, but Mamba ends up getting the cheat out of the face. Pred gets taken down. A second kill for the Torb, looking for a third. Duck's able to finish off the kill, and now the late staggers need to stop here for the side of SPT. 45 seconds left to go, and now looks like the side of Spectrum looking to turn this into a full cap here on New Queen Street, but they're hunting, looking for a little bit more kills. They aren't going to reset the checkpoint just yet here, but they're trying to clean out the rest of these kills. Saucer and Zebra are in the backline, taking control of this health pack space and trying to force any sort of touches on this bot is what you want. 25 seconds left to go, but you need support ults to get huge value here for your SPT. Trying to be able to clear out the rest of the core, but Pred gets taken down. Beamto ends up taking down the Cassidy. B in the back, high quality, trying to be able to get their way back to the car, ends up getting chased down. The Diva ending up with 2 kills. Doctor ever so close gets a third. And it looks like Spectrum chasing down the last touches here. 4K for the Diva. The skirmish is over, but Zebra looking for a last second touch here is going to force overtime. Dead on the point. Duck trying to be able to clear out the threats. Zebra looking for a last second touch with the Wrecking Ball. Damage dealt. Beamto able to finish off the 5K, but high quality. Returning with the respawns, looking for any sort of touch. Will get taken down. Eris gets the kunai. Molten Core on the point. Try to lock it down. And there's a map going the way of Spectrum. We are going to see a map 4.
Oh, man, and if it isn't exactly what I said, Spectrum very good all season on these push maps, and that is where they take the cake, and now the Annihilation play of the game goes to Doc.
Excellent
look at
job
this
here
high
from
noon.
Big Cass. He ends up getting the connection, looks to chase him into the tight space, and not only that, the rest of the team's looking to get aggressive. There's 1, there's 2, the nice shot.
The Kalataruski.
Damage dealt, and that's the return, the aggression we were seeing in Chase that Spectrum's been looking for this entire series. They found a way to be able to punish and try to be able to chase down these threats, and it seems like Vimto on the Diva being a little bit more of a comfort pick that seems to fit the aggression. Diva, off of the recent patch, does have more killing potential with the micro missiles, so being able to play in and out with the high armor health pool and the DM as well, it seems like an excellent pick to try to be able to turn it the other way. But not only that, we've seen Eris trying to be able to dial the aggression the rest of the team and match the progression of this aggressive style for Spectrum, and it turned out to work excellently. This is the response you're looking for, and now we can see if Spectrum could potentially get the ball going the other way as we head into Route 66.
Yeah, honestly, I'm more so pumped up at the PD Pipes prediction of the game here. Honestly, going into this matchup, I did say that Spectrum on push maps all season long looking really strong. So now the real question is, can they keep these alive? Ignite the reverse sweep. And it all starts now. They got their initial dub. It's 2-1 SPT. Spectrum trailing. All right, going into Route 66 here, trying to force that game 5. And now this is cool, right? All night, we haven't seen a single side swap, right, between both teams. We haven't seen anybody switch from offense to defense. It's been on the left has always been SPT, and on the right has been Spectrum. And now we have the opportunity where we may see the first initial change, and this could completely flip the equilibrium of this entire match around right here, right now. You talk about getting into the group. You talk about building that synergy, having that cohesion, right? SPT has been forming that momentum all night long, and that momentum has finally been stopped. Because you know what they say, right, Stick Drift? An object in motion stays in motion unless a force acts upon it. And that force is Spectrum out here fully loaded, zooted and booted, ready to rock and roll. God, I'm feeling it.
There's a lot going on here, and this is almost unwelcome territory for SPT. Only one team, one, in the rest of the tournament, in the rest of the league so far, has forced them to a map 4. This is unknown territory for SPT. They aren't really forced to be able to play into this map type as much. It may seem a little bit more traditional. We've seen the space operate similarly to a lot of hybrid maps, in this case for Route 66. But trying to be able to play the entire time of trying to be touch and go with the cart is going to be a completely different task. And whether or not this shakes up the entire approach for SPT, this could be something Spectrum could exploit. They have the resources to be able to do so. And not only do they have the resources, Annihilation's got you covered with the resources. HelloFresh, sponsor of today's stream, able to get your 10 free redeems with your 10 free meals and a lifetime worth of fresh, never frozen foods. Talk about Wendy's? Nah, we're talking about HelloFresh. They got you covered. Redeem your code in the description below. Get yourself some nice meals. Thank you from HelloFresh from Annihilation League as we get set for map 4 here on Route 66.
Yeah, so now we are here live on Route 66, where everything is actually going to be staying the same. So on the left, we do have SPT, and on the right, we have our wonderful Spectrum here, and nothing's changing from either side, right? You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think the groove has been found and met, and now the synergy and harmonization of Spectrum is about to come to life here on Route 66.
Especially interesting because we talked about the back and forth play for the side of Spectrum's backline. We do see Froggy returning to the Ana instead of the main support role here. Air is now brought in to play the Brigitte. It's very interesting, especially contrasting what the Kiriko was able to do in the previous comp. You have to wonder whether or not this is just a comfort pick for Froggy to be able to play the Ana, and whether or not the Brigitte is just a specialty pick for Eris, whether or not everything's able to fit in the right scheme. We'll have to see. We do see some interesting swaps here. It's actually going to be the Brawl with Duck on the Ashe and Mamba on the Hanzo. Correction, it's going to be Duck on the Cassidy.
How's it going?
And Mamba's returning to the Torb.
Oh, all right. I thought we were going Brig here. I was a big fan of the Brig pick. It's really good for the backline protection, especially on this map where you can get caught out, especially with what SPT's been running, right? You know, they have run that Sombra, they have run that Shooter. Now they're coming into it, and it looks like we have like a full mirror almost going into this what could be the final map, what could be the Tale of Tales, sending Spectrum to map 5. All to be foretold here at Big Earl's 24-hour service.
Into already stretching onto the high ground, does get the Nemesis form popped ever so early, does force the Immortality field from Froggy, and Aris is split from the rest of the core, but Mom is able to get the headshot into Saucer. The Venture gets taken down, not a lot of off-angle pressure here, but Doctor does take advantage of the fact that Aris was stranded alone. Not a lot of heals available for Spectrum in the back here, but they get the trade, and a Doctor pummel off of the boot from Froggy,
That's
able
huge.
to knock in the pick, but Zebra trying to be able to replicate on the other side with the Nemesis form, gets dropped ever so low, is taken down. Beamto ends up getting the finisher, and it looks like the damage has been dealt. Saucer looking for the turn, gets one, gets two, looking for the up drive from the Burrow, looking to take down the Tor, but it's not enough.
Aggro.
The Torbjorn with the right hook, and it looks like the first point going the way of Spectrum.
Honestly, that is what you like to see. Spectrum. You come off of that push map, and now you're here live on Route 66, and you're firing on all cylinders, putting absolutely no brakes to the cause here. This is huge. And an absolute game changer, right? You saw Saucer. Saucer definitely posed a threat, but thank God for the 6-man that Mamba was packing, able to hold it down there.
Interesting rotation here, especially for Spectrum, trying to be able to force on the high ground. They do leave Froggy on the point to try to be able to deal with the touches, but Saucer, with the Ravenous Vortex assistance, is going to be taken down. And this is the complication when it comes to Spectrum's comp. There's not a lot of point presence that can be maintained steadily by the rest of the core, and especially with this Venture looking around on this side angle, you have to look for something a little bit more sustainable, and it looks like the rest of the core trying to be able to take the fight underneath the saloon here. A little bit more compacted, and I like this approach here for Spectrum if they're able to maintain it, but Zebra's trying to take the aggression. Nemesis form, Annihilation popped on the stairs, Ult and core dropping the other way, but the up barrel from Saucer and a 3K? The Venture going wild, Vimto able to respond in the other way, gets the pick on the Doctor, but it looks like the damage has been dealt. The drill dash underneath Saucer with the Venture now, has the tectonic shocks, and is able to lead the charge. You have to look for an answer to this Venture. Able to play so independently, able to play in and out with such ease, and now with the pressure of the point now being a consistent threat, you have to be ever so worrisome, and it doesn't help when Pred takes down your Lucio. Froggy gets taken down, but Eris responds.
That I would consider a trade here. But in this case, it's a DPS for a support, so I don't know how much. Honestly, oh! I was gonna say, if you're Spectrum, you should hold your ultimate to the next team fight, popping it off early as Vim.
They do get the sound barrier here. Vimto able to get the aggression with the pommel, so now trying to stretch it a little bit further. Does get the Nemesis form here, forced out of Zebra, but now you gotta get back on the point. They do have ultimates to work with, both support ults and the Deadeye here from Duck. But on the other side, Saucer does have this tectonic shock available, trying to be able to shake up the foundation, no pun intended, but looking to try to take the aggression the other way onto Eris. Zebra Cookie getting dropped ever so low. Their Amp Matrix trying to be able to corral the rest of the threats into the underside of the saloon, but it looks like Vimto needs some assistance to beat now. Trying to take the aggression, and Ducker gets taken down, gets one, gets two. The pommels from Vimto. Tectonic shocks going the other way. Saucer looking for any sort of return, but nobody's touching the ground. What are you gonna do if the shocks can't touch the ground? Saucer looking for any sort of assistance. It's not gonna be enough. Looking for the last second touch here, looking for the up quake here. Not gonna get enough. Ravenous Vortex planted on top. No verticality, no problem. Vimto with the finish and a second point cap. 353 and counting here, and plenty of time to make this a very healthy push on Route 66 for Spectrum.
Spectrum is looking vicious ever since the Eris swap. Welcome to the Eris era, folks.
Now, here comes a little bit more of a concern. You want to try to be able to take the high ground and try to shut down the frontline pressure, and Zebra Cookie's already in a position to try to be able to take the fight, prevent this from swinging out, but you have to leave the rest of the core on the point. Eris and Mambo, you do see it playing in a split position, but Zebra Cookie's able to take the aggression. Amp Matrix on the back. Duckner trying to be able to corral the rest of the threats onto the high ground. Molten Core thrown behind the window, does put the aggressive position onto this Torbjorn. Zebra just gets forced the other way. Immortality field for Duckner, trying to keep them alive, but Zebra trying to take the aggression. Deadeye in the back for Duck, does get pummeled though. Annihilation from Zebra is going to be able to ensure that the Deadeye catches none. And it looks like the rest of the aggression here from SPT is trying to be able to turn it the other way. Vimto does get the pick from the over-aggression here from Zebra Cookie. Looking for the Annihilation. Saucer gets dropped ever so low. The Annihilation not going to catch what it needs, but a pick on the tank nonetheless. 2:45 left to go, and it looks like Spectrum got the pick that they wanted, able to get the respawns here, but Pred closing in on a Bob to try to be able to stall this approach.
Yeah, Pred closing in on a Bob, and not enough time to really get to that window nor that beat if you're the side of Spectrum. So this is where you kind of want to play it safe, but still want to get those picks, and look at Pred go in!
Pred gets one, gets two, trying to be able to close off the rest of the threats. Zebra Cookie gets a melee on the Vimto, and it looks like the rest of the sails from Spectrum are getting taken down. The late stagger on the Eris, the punch on the Duck for good measure, and it looks like the finisher as well. A little bit of some leg day work from Zebra Cookie, no worries. But it is going to force a swap here. Vimto moving over to the Orisa.
How's it going?
Oh, actually, that's a really interesting pick here. To go Orisa in these final moments here. Let's see what the Battle Cattle has in store.
I want to see them try to be able to drain out these resources from Zebra Cookie. It takes a lot to try to force Nemesis already, but the mid-fight poke is where the Orisa is able to turn it up and potentially turn a brawl. Not as strong as the Ramatra in some cases, but it does have the potential to try to mitigate how effective this Ramatra can be. There are a lot of ultimates on the back, and SPT looking on 4 ultimates, but Eris does has this Amp Matrix, could potentially turn the aggression if the front line gets ever overzealous. The spear connection does catch Zebra, trying to force a little bit more, but trying to crawl the cart ever so close, but the Bob gets invested. Stun in the back. Amp Matrix already thrown in the back. Match with the beat in the other way. Saucer's looking for the up burrow, trying to be able to take down one, but Eris gets displaced. Ajax in the back from Froggy, and the sound barrier's not going to catch anything! Spectrum looking for an answer, but the defense is taken down. Saucer with the excellent pick. The resources drained, and now it's a minute left to go, and the Venture's let loose. Good for one, good for a second. Not going to stretch too far, but now you're gonna looking for any sort of answers. DPS ults and Vimto looking on this Terra Surge, but how are you going to play into Saucer's Tectonic Shock? You have to try to get touches, but you also have to be concerned because Zebra Cookie has an Annihilation ready to go.
That is absolute factos here, because honestly, I do feel that Vimto's Vimto's swap to Orisa might have kind of been a little costly, in my opinion. I feel like the Ramatra was working really well for Spectrum. But as I say that, and as this lag keeps enduring on my games, we get to see how both these teams pan out in the final moments here with 17 seconds left.
Duck gets the clear on the Ductor, though. No sustainable healing, and Froggy's able to take advantage. Boop on the Pred. DPS taken down here. Deadeye in the back, and Zebra Cookie gets taken down. Tectonic Shock for Saucer, looking for the return. Does get the drill dash, kisses one. Eris gets taken down, but Vimto's able to get the return. Melee onto the Venture. Overtime now. Molten Core from Mamba trying to be able to shut down the touches. And it looks like the doormat's been placed. The door's shut. And a full cap here for Spectrum.
Spectrum lighting up the...
0-3. Switching sides.
Excellent cap here with
Initiate
Justin. It was a little bit of a healthy gate, but trying to shut down Route 66, a little bit more of a task here, especially on this attack. But trying to make it work with the Orisa was interesting, but what came through was Duck being able to take advantage of the side lane. We just saw a very collapsed look from SPT, trying to be able to take the blunt force onto the Orisa, but an excellent job from Vimto, trying to be able to cycle the cooldowns, mitigate the damage going in. And just when everybody's looking at the front line, Duck goes unchecked, and the opening pick to remove the Baptiste was critical. If everybody else in the rest of the core was healthy, SPT was sure to look to hold that defense for as long as possible and maybe, just maybe, set themselves up. But now they need a full cap here to keep the series going. But for right now, Spectrum getting the full cap, a much needed answer. And Vimto holding on to the Ramatrim now as we get set for their defense. But interesting enough, SPT forced to make some changes here. Saucer now trying to take on the Pharah.
Ooh, so some high-flying action of air superiority. We do look like going back to the bread and butter is Spectrum. I'm very interested as to see what's going to come out of this Pharah pick here from Saucer. This actually could be the pick of picks, right? We've seen a lot of disruption caused by Pharah picks in Season 11. So this could be one of those big momentum changers as far as the side of SPT goes.
Extra layer of verticality. Saucer does have the concussion mine, may provide for the displacement, does force some players to drop in the back, but one knock forward, and you have to be a little bit careful here if you're the side of Spectrum, trying to match into the sightlines of Pred as well. But in the backline, interestingly enough, we Ductor on the Baptiste, but high quality moving over to the Brigitte. A lot of damage being sustained on top of the Big Earl. Saucer doing an excellent job providing some aerial fire, but not a lot of touch and go point pressure, trying to be able to force out some resources. But Zebra Cookie, even with the Nemesis form, gets armor broken down. Immortality field already invested here from Ductor, trying to keep them alive. Does end up getting dropped out of Nemesis form, gets dropped ever so low. Immortality field thrown in the back here on the side for Spectrum, looking to try to be able to sustain the poke. But Zebra Cookie just holding onto the cart and trying to take the aggression the other way, but looking like Spectrum trying to take the aggression the other side, and Eris gets the headshot, and the Baptiste gets one, gets two. The Baptiste getting active here in the chase on the main, displaces the Ramatra from the rest of the core. A nice needed response here from Spectrum to prevent the push, and a nice way to kill about minute 15 as Eris showing some prominence on the Baptiste.
Does anyone care about moving the payload?
So far, looking like a really good hold from Spectrum early here. 2:30 left on the clock here. SPT still got a little bit of time here to get this first point and try and take it to the toe.
They're getting a lot of poke here on the top here. Saucer closing in on Barrage, potentially trying to look for a one-shot to potentially clear the rest of this high ground. Nice concussive mine to displace the supports, but they're not going to take too long to get back up. Zebra Cookie trying to force the high ground, does force the annihilation, the bomb in the high ground, the barrage, the sound barrier, enabled to be able to weather the storm, the lamp as well, but the aggression turned the other way. Ductor gets taken down, Saucer as well, but Pred catches one, catches two, catches three. The bomb in the high ground able to weather the storm. And the Ash comes through, able to burn through the resources. It was a nice attempt to try to turn it around, but it doesn't look like they have the resources to get the touchback. Zebra Cookie and Pred able to hold down the fort here. It did take a lot, but it looks like they might look for a last second touch. Froggy does get a touch, does get taken down. The pummel from the Ramatra trying to prevent any sort of last second attempts. Another pummel onto Duck, looking for a third. Pred's able to finish it out in the last second stagger for Spectrum, trying to at least provide a little bit more time killed here, but it looks like it's gonna be for not. Zebra Cookie able to finish out a third with the right hook. About 4 minutes left to go here for SPT on their attack as they finally set their ground and get ready for point B.
Hello.
Yeah, honestly, SPT kind of needs to buckle down here, right? We saw what Spectrum can do on this map. They proved it to us. They literally gave us their all on And now SPT kind of slow to the start. So, with a full ult economy in the tank here for the side of Spectrum, we really just need to see how much sustain this... Oh!
Ramatra getting burned awfully low, but Vimto able to make the annihilation work, catches on to 2, looking to chase on the Pred, will be able to get a third, and it looks like the damage has been dealt off of the back of the Molten Core as well. The shot from Duck, Saucer's not going anywhere. Fish in a barrel, well, flyer, but damage been dealt, but it looks like resources still available here. High quality now closing in on this rally, first rally of the fight. It's taking an awful long time to build, but Saucer closing in on another barrage to try to be able to find a breakout, especially out of this cave. But you have to be worried about the amount of spam coming in here for the side of Spectra. Duck does have this Deadeye, the Amp Matrix in the back here for Eris, try to be able to stifle the efforts. Zebra Cookie isolated out of main. They do use the Amp, or the Immortality Field rather. Try to be able to stabilize a little bit much. Kind of wish you had that back, but now provides the opens for SPT to try to break out here. Saucer trying to be able to get out of this tunnel. A little bit more concerning here, especially with the Mamba able to fish in the shots in the tight space so well. But Duck trying to hold on to this Deadeye, trying to isolate some threats onto this high ground. Able to get a couple of shots, does get shielded, but Beamto trying to take the aggression the other way onto Pred, trying to chase down the Ash, does lose them in the tight space. Rally in the short space, the barrage as well, does force Duck down. Zebra Cookie ends up getting one, getting two. Eris, a nice little exit trade, but the ult's invested, and just when it was looking a bit aggressive, I kind of like the fight here. For the side of Spectrum, they do force a lot of critical resources. That's 3 ults out of this fight. Zebra Cookie is going to have the annihilation available, but walking out with Duck's Deadeye could be the answer they need.
And honestly, it could be, but you got 2 shields on this point, so a lot could happen.
Breakout here, SPT trying to be able to crawl back in. It is going to be Mamba on the side angle, Duck on the high ground, left alone, does take a couple of shots here, gets dropped ever so low. Annihilation for Zebra Cookie, trying to take the aggression. Deadeye in the back from Duck, trying to be able to zone the threat of the annihilation. Does provide the space a little bit close, but the annihilation still active off of Beamto. Zebra able to get it active in the backline, catches on to 2. The annihilation able to cook just a little bit too long, and it looks like the damage has been dealt. Zebra Cookie good for a third. And it looks like a second point capture here for SPT as they finally break through. 2:45 here now to try to close out and match the efforts on the other side. But for Mamba, an interesting swap here. We get the Widowmaker.
Wiley said in chat, Zebra about to roll credits all over them. And the inside joke here is because it's Annihilation Overwatch and Ramatra drops the Annihilation. Whenever Ramatra pops an Annihilation, it is considered the end credits are rolling. Right, Piper? Cool. It's my homie Piper keeping me in check here tonight.
Interesting swap here. Bomba doesn't hold on to the Widowmaker. They will keep on to the Reaper guy. I do like the double shotguns here. Favorite character, honestly. But a lot of action to be able to provide, but you have to try to get active on the Ramatra, but the Ramatra's left alone. Beamto forced to annihilate, try to be able to get an armor refresh, but they're dropped ever so low. But the Amp Matrix on the both sides, the damage has already been dealt. A lot of damage. Vimto gets taken down. Zebra Cookie looking to take the initiative through the window. No threat in the back for the rest of the core for Spectrum. And now we're closing in on the final checkbox here. Bob invested early here for Pred, trying to zone the rest of the space. Saucer does have this barrage to try to shut the door on any retake attempts. But Vimto moving over to the Orisa now, looking for anything else. They need a touch. And there's the beat, but it's not going to connect onto the tank. The damage onto Eris as well. Going to ensure the damage is dealt. The burn's done. The no touches left, and Spectrum just letting that one slip through their hands. 224 now available as now it comes down to the overtime push. Can Spectrum make the most out of their minute?
All right, and now we get a little OT action here, yo. Spectrum really got to dig deep if they want to force this map 5 here, but coming up slowly but surely, trying to end this one for the match point is SPT, who does have 2:24 clock, 2-1 minute here, 3-3, all tied up on 66. For those of you just joining us, it is 2-1 SPT. So now Spectrum with a minute on the clock. We're going to see how far they can push this point.
And just when they were looking for any sort of stability in any sort of pick, they were just able to weather the storm of the DPS, but you have to be considerate of how much space Zebra Cookie is taking. We're seeing a lot of aggression that could be easily burned through on this Ramatra. Even with the armor, you force the Ram to block the entirety of their Nemesis form. That's immense amount of value. They aren't able to get the armor refresh, and just when they get vulnerable following, it's able to be devastating and potentially force a lot of resources to keep the Ramatra up. I'd like to see them try to turn their attention toward the tank just a little bit longer, but providing some of the openings, you got to try to shut down what Saucer's doing on this defense, and with the Pharah spamming into these tight corners, you have to be a little bit concerned. But it is going to be Mamba moving over to the Venture now, and Duck holding on to the cast, but still, it's going to be a task to try to be able to displace Saucer.
Yeah, that honestly, I really do like the Pharah pick. It definitely made a bit of an impact, as I would say. You know, I wouldn't say it was that much of an impact, but it definitely got the job done where it was needed. And Pred now making that opening pick onto Eris. So now we get to see what Spectrum really does in these final moments here. 20 seconds left on the clock.
Support's already lost in transit, and Zebra Cookie's trying to take the aggression up front. Duck already gets taken down. The rest of the damage trying to deal, and the Immortality Force from Eris already in their spawn. The rest of the core here from Spectrum got to look for any sort of touch. 10 seconds to go. It's going to have to be Beamtail looking for anything else. Pops the Nemesis form. Does get the Ravenous Vortex at their feet. Looking for a last second touch. Froggy is going to be back with the Lucio in time, but Saucer shuts the door. Direct catches the Lucio out of the fight. Gets a second onto Mamba. Tried returning on the 76, but it's not enough. The damage up front. Another Nemesis form for Zebra Cookie. The damage from the Pharah is too much. And just around the corner is where it's going to lie. 224. And Spectrum need to hold down if they want to force a map 5.
This is literally coming down to the wire, Stick Drift. I don't know what to tell you. We're literally in the final moments here. There is a full 2 minutes and 24 seconds on the clock for SPT and a very short distance to go. Now, I don't know about you, but if I was playing on this map and I'm Spectrum, I'm locking in the poke comp and I'm holding it down with a Bastion.
They need a response to try to be able to tolerate, because trying to be able to break out of this corner, you can't let the rest of the core from SPT get set up. Once Pred's in a position to be able to take a sight line onto Earls with relative ease, Zebra Cookie on that high ground causing so much space. And not only that, you have to be worrisome about Saucer getting too aggressive on this Pharah. You have to try to mitigate some of these threats, and letting the DPS for the side of SPT get their value in ways that you wouldn't expect. You have to be ever so careful, because one miscue could be the end of this series at this point. It's 224 just to get around one corner. You have to try to be able to lock down. You have to make sure you get your toe touches on the point, which is going to be an ever so interesting ordeal, because if the cart gets forced underneath Earls, this fight is going to be near impossible for Spectrum to try to be able to hold down. But it is going to be the Ashe from Mamba, Duck holding onto the Cassidy. It is going to be the Pharah on the other side. You have to try to mark these threats before it gets out of hand. And it looks like the early shots on Saucer are a good sign.
Going in this ROM directions for Spectrum, right? 2 minutes, 5 seconds left on the clock here. I like this patience is bliss. It's like the calm before the storm. They're just hiding up on bigger. Like, all right, we're gonna get this.
But the Immortality Field's already been forced on the high ground. Zebra Cookie just holding onto the payload, looking to try to drag this in. 4 meters away, you have to try to force the Ramatra, and the aggression is turned up. Not Nemesis form. Immortality Field thrown in the back here. Beamtail trying to turn the aggression the other way. Zebra Cookie gets dropped ever so low. Trying to get their armor refresh, gets dropped ever so low, but Beamtail gets the pick! Then pummeling from the Ramatra, able to ensure the pick, and it's going to slow down SPT just for a time being. 1:30 to go. But that's one way you got to slow this approach down. You try to take down the Ramatra, ensure the poke is going to drag it out, but another pick on the Fred!
Minute and 15 left on the Klizak here, and Spectrum is chasing perfection.
Trying to close it down here. You have to be worrisome about the ult. You have to think about whether or not Saucer's going to be able to build up to a barrage to try to burn down your Ramatra in this fight. But Mamba on the other end, building up to a Bob ever so quickly. Zebra Cookie trying to get the assistance on the far side, trying to take the cart the other way, but Beamtail's doing an excellent job trying to hold the corner, turn the aggression. Doctor gets dropped ever little bit too low, but the DPS on the side of Spectrum are getting dropped ever so low. The damage from Saucer being a little bit too much to handle right now, but Beamtail needs assistance. But Pred's able to get the pick. Duck gets taken down. Saucer looking for the finisher on Mamba, and Mamba gets taken down before the bomb gets invested. The damage is dealt. The DPS are open. There are Annihilation in the back for Beamtail. but it's not going to be enough. Roll credits. No touch. No problem. SPT closes the door and finish this 1-4.
Wow, what a match. And our annihilation play of the game goes to Saucer on the Farah.
Seeing a lot of directs from this Farah, catching shot after shot with near perfection, especially on this defense. You needed a threat to lock it down, and Saucer slammed the door shut. An excellent way to cap off the series. The streak stays alive for SPT. Not as flawless as they would have liked to be, but a job well done nonetheless.
It was truly exquisite to watch, honestly, and Spectrum did an amazing job all on their own. You know, all night tonight, Spectrum has shown in ways that they are definitely a team that is here to compete in this league. And what a better way to showcase them than against a team like SPT, forcing them to drop another map in their legendary saga of map winning, right? I believe that's
Definitely.
17-2 as a record now.
I believe it's 18-2 on the map record, so SPT now
18
standing
and
at a
2,
plus
18 and
16.
2. Yeah, so not a bad way to go. But now we get to, before we close out the night, we get to go into honorable mentions and MVP.
A lot of good candidates on both sides, definitely. I would like to give a shout out to Mamba on the side of Spectrum. We did see a lot of proficiency throughout their pool, whether or not they were able to play the Ashe, the Tracer. Very dynamic player, especially being uncontested at points and being able to make those points matter. A lot of excellence that was done, as well as Vimto, especially in the tank. We did see some excellence from the Diva, some proficiency with the Ramatra, definitely a little bit more comfort, and they made it show in leaps and bounds. We did see some flexibility to the Orisa as well. Definitely well-rounded. I would definitely think that these players definitely worth mention, but for the side of SPT, we saw a lot of greatness throughout the roster, up and down. It's hard to make mention of one, but if it's got to be my vote, I've got my eyes on Zebra Cookie. An excellent job to spearhead the aggression and the initiative from this team to be able to allow for a lot of these pop-off moments. And not only when the DPS can't get it done, they said, I'll do it myself. So definitely my favorite to take it home, Zebra Cookie.
All right, so for Saving Private Tommy, we will hand the MVP off to Sir Zebra Cookie. And for the side of Spectrum, our honorable mention, you're locking in Mamba, or did you see any other favorites? I mean, for me, Spectrum. In all my honesty, the entire team tonight uh, really played a big benefactor into the success of their team. Even though they fell short, a lot of those mat opportunities to get the big wins, such as the push map as well as Route 66, Spectrum players really stood out to me, such as, Vimto out here on that tank all night, Duck as well, between the Cassidy to the Tracer. We already talked about Mamba, Froggy's Lucio, along with the Ana, Eris coming in out of the blue and completely changing the trajectory of the game, at least from my angle. But, Stick Drift, if you had to pick out of everybody team, because I think I'm going to squad. But if you had to choose an individual Spectrum to take the honorable mention home, who going to crown the HM?
I definitely think it's got to go to Mamba in this sense. Being able to drive some of the initiative and get the key picks in a lot of those crucial moments, the discipline and poise to be able to play their lives to a T on such little resource while forcing so much takes a lot more than what their record states. 1-5, not an accurate description of what this team's able to provide, but with with people like Mamba on that squad, you have to be more concerned about what this team's able to do in the future. And I definitely think it's got to be Mamba taking the HM on this one.
All right. Well, folks, you heard it here first. Brought to you in part by Hello Fresh. Get pumping that code. Get your 10 free meals and a lifetime supply of appetizers as we bring you the best in Annihilation Overwatch. MVP tonight, Cookie from T. And our honorable mention pick from Spectrum is Mamba. This has been a great game brought to you by Piper and Pipes Productions. Here joining us, the homie Stick Drift, coming to you live all season long as we get ready to bring you some of the best in Annihilation Overwatch. This has been a great showing and an absolute damn, I lost train of thought on that one. All right. Yep. Cool. Great, Pete. All right. Yeah. So this has been a fantastic showing, and make sure you join us tomorrow. We do have a lot tomorrow, starting at 3 p.m. We have our first game of the day tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then following that, we have a 4:30 p.m. game, and then I believe we have a 8:30 game followed by a 9-something game. But I got to check the schedule to confirm those last two. I'm positive of the. And yeah, it's been a fantastic ride, and thank you all for joining us tonight. And have a wonderful rest of your night, and we will see you guys tomorrow.